Hello, hello, hello. What's up, everybody? God dang, God dang, God diggity dang. Michael Gebben here, your mind mechanic, tuning up hearts and minds one at a time so your ideas do not die in your heart, your head, or your hard drive. It is my mission to help people get out of their head, get into their heart, and help them put themselves out there in a powerful way. And today's topic around a job, getting a job, quitting a job, career transition, and entrepreneurship. Your mental health matters. It's a topic that's been coming up a lot. I wrote posts in 2017. I was seeing a trend even then about people who were pursuing entrepreneurship, quote unquote, quitting or giving up. Now, I say that quitting or giving up because that's probably how you feel. You feel shame and guilt that you see people in Facebook groups, you see people in forums, you see people in courses and promotions and ads and this, that, and the other thing, YouTube, and they're just flying and having these, what looks like overnight success, right? They're moving fast. They're making a lot of money. I mean, I just talked to a guy the other day who got in video production 2018, didn't make much money in 2019, had a job at Amazon. And in 2020, he quit his job at Amazon in February, did $80,000 that year, made $300,000 last year, and plans on making $2.2 million this year. Now, when you hear stories like that, some people go, good for him, right? Good for him, right? Other people go, that's freaking awesome. That's something to aspire to. And then other people, I'd say by and large, a vast majority of people might be like, that's cool, but go, wow, what a loser I am. I suck. I've been at this. I've been trying to do this for a lot longer than that. And I still haven't even broke $15,000. What's wrong with me? I bought the courses. I bought the programs, right? I have the software. I have the cameras. I have the lenses. I have all these things. I have all the assets necessary to succeed, right? On some level, I feel like I have the talent because I hear about somebody like that and I look at their work and I go, my work is better than that. What is wrong with me? And so I've been seeing people who even were doing well, 6 figures, $100,000 a year, who've ended up working for somebody else. Because I think there's a lot of glamorization around entrepreneurship. And the reality is that it doesn't have to be hell on earth and, bleed your eyes out, sleep when you're dead, ruin relationship with your family and work 24 hours a day so that you can get your business going. But I think that there is some things to realize that there is energy and effort that has to be put forth. And when you go from employment to self-employment, at times you go from there's one thing you have to do to there's 50 things you have to do. And there's one thing you know how to do well and you really like, and there's 49 things that you're not excited about and don't know how to do well. And that, really cripples you. It really slows you down. It really discourages you, right? And so what happens is that then people feel shame and guilt. One, they feel shame and guilt if they have a job and they can't get enough momentum to be able to quit the job and do the thing they love full time. Now, other people are giving it their best go, right? They've quit the job. They've taken the risk. They've got the courage and they've done it and they're not moving very fast. And so then it's like, when do I give up? When do I quit? When do I just go get a job again? Now, what's interesting is something that I've brought up, and it's the main thing I work on with people, is really knowing yourself. Now, I do believe that some version of anything is possible for anyone, but I think that sometimes there's people, if we're using the metaphor of a baby has no awareness, to the best of our knowledge, in regards to like a newborn, that it's frustrated that it cannot walk, right? It's not going around every day thinking it's a loser at, 3 weeks old. Why can't I walk yet? These people are all running around walking. Why can't I walk? The problem is once we become an adult, and now in this day and age, we have a million examples of all ages, all races, all religions, all colors, all types of people, all locations, all that we can see, who are winning, who are losing, who are having things work out, making a ton of money really fast, not making any money at all, have great work, not great work, right? Have huge YouTube channels, no YouTube channels, right? Everything in between you can compare yourself against and see examples to think that, I got a lot to strive for. Well, I blow that person away. I'm kind of the same as them. right? So there's so many examples out there to look at that can encourage, discourage, all these different things. So what do we do when we're knowing ourselves? Do we really know ourselves, or do we feel like we know others that we're comparing, and then we're trying to do what they do? We're just trying to do what they do, but you don't know who they are. You don't know the behind the scenes. And the problem with not knowing who they are, what they're thinking, what they're believing, and then what they're actually then, after all that, doing, is having you try to emulate without being able to understand what's really going on and why that person gets the results. And you feel like you're doing the same thing, but you're not anywhere near getting the same results. And so what I have found is that at times, some people are going to be better kind of mentoring or having an apprenticeship or working for someone else, that they're not at this stage in their life, bringing the baby scenario back in, right? Like when we get older, we start comparing, and then we are discouraged every day because we're not achieving XYZ result, right? Unlike the baby, awareness, it keeps moving along, practicing, and all of a sudden it can walk. But so many of us, we're looking at all these different paths and people saying that things can happen in a year, 6 months. And if we haven't had that happen, we're not too satisfied from that. So here's the thing. I've asked this question. It's a very important question. I say it in different videos, and if you've heard it once and you're not where you want to be, I want you to think about this. If you didn't need money, what would you be doing? What would you keep doing? What would you stop doing? What would you start doing? Now, here's the thing. What will earn you the most money is not entrepreneurship versus a job, right? I don't want you to look through the lens of, well, of course, entrepreneurship. If I owned my own business and had my own company and did my own thing, I would make the most money. Yes, you could, right? You could. But right now, you have a lens and filter that is having you potentially trying to do things that you've been trying to do for years, and it is draining you. You are lacking energy. You are potentially harming relationships around you because you're tired, you're worn out, you're exhausted, and you're thinking that for you to do what you love, you must own your own business. And what I can say is that you could own your own business, but neither is wrong nor right. But what will earn you the most is you knowing yourself well enough and not having shame and guilt and frustration around the fact that maybe right now there's an alternative way to look at this. So I've seen specifically, let's say, wedding videographers where they're having a really hard time doing some of the things necessary to get the business going so that they have business to be able to do the thing that might be showing up to a wedding and filming the wedding or editing the wedding and creating that video. So for you to do that 20 or 30 times a year and a couple $1,000s a pop and have a, probably more than you might make in your current job, there are activities that will have to be done. Now, for some people, they're the right place, right time, this, that, da, 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 and they do randomly do one wedding and all this word of mouth spreads. That happens. And then some people go, I did a few weddings and nothing else happened. So what I've seen is when there's such a struggle and resistance there, and then you're running out of money and you're losing money and you're draining your bank account, you're draining your savings account. When you get in that flight or fight, state of mind and you're super frustrated, you keep putting fuel on a fire, you get a bigger fire. Sometimes that's the result you want. Other times it's not. And so what I have found is that the people pursuing that. Now, sometimes getting a job, you think, I got to do something I don't want to do. True. That is an option. Or, as I've seen people do, you can get jobs doing what you love to do. There are people out there right now who have a drive and tenacity to obtain and get clients and get opportunities 10 times faster than you. And they're better at it right now. But what they may not be good at is actually fulfilling that work. If things need to be edited, if things need to be shot, things need to be written, copyright, whatever it is, there are people right now who are great at marketing, great at promotion, great at obtaining, relationship building, getting the clients, obtaining the clients, all of that. But then they have to deliver their service. Could be shooting, editing, again, copywriting, designing, et cetera, et cetera. And they need people who are great at those things. And the likelihood is right now, are you going to have one of these people hire you that could need those services? Are they going to pay you $300,000 a year? Are they going to pay you $150,000 a year? Are they even right now going to pay you $80,000 a year? Not necessarily. And the higher in employment you go, you got to get really into corporate, a lot of creative service fields. There's not a lot of companies go around paying a designer $800,000 a year. So yeah, there's ways that as self-employment, having your own company, that you could grow these numbers, but that comes with a whole other slew of responsibilities and skills that need to be learned and all these things. And some people fall in love with that more than they do doing their craft or their art. But some people love the craft or the art more than they do those other things. And when you can't blend both, you end up with a problem. And that problem is you get really good at something and you don't get to do it very often, and you don't get to make money doing it. And so what I've seen is people be able to get hired by people. I've seen wedding videographers go work for companies that are great at getting a ton of weddings. And they end up consistently with certainty making $2,000, $3,000 a month. And they get the practice in, the reps in, they get to observe and learn. And if you find the right organization, they're not, when you're ready to fly, like when I got to meet Richard Branson back in the day on his island, you know, one of the things that he said to me was, you know, some people stay for a week, a month, a year, 15 years, but when they're ready to go, I wish them their best. And I'll do what I can to support them. That's an abundance mindset, right? Versus, well, I don't want to train my competition, right? That real scarcity mindset. There's people out there like that, but there's also people who are going to be there to help you grow. And when you're ready to fly, they'll help you soar, right? And so that's what I always did. And I have people now who have their own companies that, you know, we've talked, they're not 100% sure whether or not they would have done that on their own. Maybe they would have figured it out, but they definitely, when they came with me, that wasn't even an option or an idea. They just wanted to do the creative parts. But by being around me, who was running the company and doing the whole thing and doing the creative parts, they got to have less risk, but do what they loved, learn. And then when I say, hey, you can do your own thing, they were ready. And it was a lot easier for them. And so there is no shame in going and working for somebody else, because all of these people, what I have seen is that what has the most potential is not the thing that people say automatically has the most potential. So job versus entrepreneurship, because right now you're likely earning far less. I mean, depending on where you're at in your career, but some of the people I'm talking about, you're earning less as an entrepreneur. It is stressing you out. It is driving you crazy. It is frustrating you. And it's leading to burnout. And coming from that place is not a great place to be having conversations with clients and being really creative and doing your best work. And so that's when that can be a great time to help your mental health, to find something that allows you to do the creative part and get paid for it consistently, while you can learn more without all the pressure about entrepreneurship. And some people may go, you know what? I only made $30,000, $40,000 on a job ever. I've gotten this up to where, you know, I make $60,000, $70,000 a year, and this is fantastic. This is really fantastic, right? But the problem is too many, they're not even get to do what they love, and they're hardly making any money at it because they're trying to do something that isn't a right fit for them right now. So I've seen one where I asked the question, I brought this up yesterday, and this ties in again today. What'd you do? Editor. I wanted to be an editor. Not me, this person I coached. And for years, he was trying to run the whole company. He had a job, trying to run the whole company on the side. He's exhausted from the job, not a lot of time to do the things, to find more work and things to shoot and things to then edit and sell and do that whole process. He just wanted to edit. And once he declared and made that decision, he made more money than he ever made, $10,000 to $15,000 a year, trying to run the whole company, which, yes, could have massive potential, but it wasn't having any potential for him. For him, all that matters is for you right now. The only things that have potential for us are the things that we're willing to do, show up and learn. And for some of us right now, having the support of someone else, not that you have to figure out how do I pay these other people, because some people are wired a certain way. They've been entrepreneur. I was an entrepreneurial since I was a kid. I had a candy machine business, paper out, selling, car washes, all these things. Some of you have never had that in your bones at all, right? And you've had a job for 25 years. And now there's this excitement to do your own thing and you want freedom, but it stresses you out. It's causing more suffering than the job. And sometimes that unknown of doing that and making that transition, right? Just straight from job I don't like, that has nothing to do with what I love, into I got to learn all these things. And a lot of things I don't even want to learn or want to do. And it's so scary and all these things, to do that so that I can do my own thing. And then you never get to do your own thing because you have too many things you don't want to do. So then you just kind of stay in this neutral zone of frustration of I have a job I don't like, can't figure out this entrepreneurship thing, right? But what if you could start to make a transition by working for people who are great at getting the business, but need the help executing and doing the business, right? Doing the thing they sell, the shooting, the editing, right? The drawing, the art, the design, the web design, and it doesn't mean that that's a step backwards. It doesn't mean you're a failure or a loser. It just simply means that you are prioritizing your mental health so that you can make a transition into spending more time doing something that you really enjoy and making more money at it than you do today. Because you will always make more money at the thing that you're willing to put time, energy, and effort into, and having a level of self-awareness to recognize that the entrepreneurial gene right now may not be there hardcore, and you obsess more time on a daily basis learning how to shoot, edit, draw, write, great copy, grammar, this, that, or the other thing, than you do figuring out how do I have conversations with people that, and that's a skill to learn. But right now there are people where some of that you don't have to learn. You need to be able to sell yourself to somebody who needs that thing you do. But rather than have to do it over and over and over and over again right now, you do it a few times to have a few people that you can either be an employee of or a freelancer for a few people. So instead of, I have an editor friend, he's still a freelancer, but he has basically 1 or 2 clients and that's it. So he might edit 30 things in a year, but he doesn't have to resell himself 30 times. He sold himself once years ago, and now that has paid dividends year after year. And he's happy with that, right? He knows himself well enough to know that gives him the greatest level of freedom, right? And he gets to do what he loves. So for you, that's the biggest thing, is recognize that, there is a way for you to have a form of employment or job and do what you love that can either be a consistent thing till the end of time, or it can be a better transition, right? Or go backwards. You've been trying to do your own thing. And how do you transition backwards? Not to go get a job you hate that you don't like, but to look at it through a different lens and filter that will allow you to do the thing that you want. And you do it with somebody who effectively is going to, what's up, my man? Ryan Morris, is that who I think that is? God dang, God dang, God diggity dang. I got all these Ryans in my life, all these Ryans. I'm going to see a Ryan today, my man, Ryan Hanlon. But it's a really powerful way. There's no shame in this. And I think that you could feel that because there's a lot out there glamorizing entrepreneurship, but it's a lot of work. It doesn't have to be hard in the sense that you hate all of it, because what's the point, right? What's the point? I believe if we're going to build our own thing, we need to do our own thing, and we need to do something that we by and large love. Because if you're going to build a business that you spend 80% of your time hating, then you might as well go get a job, because you'll be a lot less stress and a lot less responsibility, right? And so for me, I firmly believe that we can build a career. We can build our own job. We can build a life, create a life that we really love. And there'll be bumps in the road, but you don't have to make it so difficult, and don't let others shame you or pressure you or force you into thinking that having some type of employment rather than the entrepreneurship, that you're a failure or a loser. If anything, you're definitely a winner, to be able to accept in this moment where you are and accept responsibility that this is stressing me out more than it's helping me. I'm going to do this, and it doesn't have to be forever. It doesn't mean going backwards. It doesn't mean loser or failure. It just is simply a stepping stone in the direction that I may end up still wanting to go, or find this works for me right now. This is where I'm meant to be at this moment in my life. And I'm getting to do what I love. And that's really what I want for people. So rock and roll, my friends. Have a phenomenal day. This is Michael Gebben here. Tuning up your heart, your mind, one at a time, so your ideas do not die in your heart, your head, or your hard drive. And so I appreciate you listening. This is your daily jumpstart, Monday through Friday. And so if you have a topic or a rebuttal or something, but to these things, send me a private message. You know, if you're listening to this later, you can do that on Facebook. You just type in Michael Gebben or type in facebook.com/Gebs86. It's me and my wife right now. Send me a message. Send me an email, michael@themindmechanic.net. And let me know if there's something that you hear here where you need that extra little bit, because I can turn it into a conversation here on a future episode. So appreciate you all so much. Have an incredible day. Keep rocking, keep rolling, and we'll talk soon. Take care.